the first to know in Nsem-Pii TV.
For Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah, a member of parliament for Oppong and Surety. Na in fact, ene or the Nsem-Pii ebu aponoso. Na ene nsem no okoni mienu. Chief Justice get to talk no nsem no. Na eno ekwadan nchen a eye chairman Wontumi ono so nsem no anachese ene. Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah akofani mienu e de agu aponoso. Na o start with chairman Wontumi nsem no. Na wachese no kre wahwe kwan a NDC amonyoko no any security agencies e wo man Ghana mu in the name of a national security for any NIB for afaso etete NPP amonyoko members na no kre wase eyade bia ehon etochema na abodwoso eniso krakrakrakra na anything wase chama Wontumi in a rightful way yenya ni twa say CID for eton safre no wono ekoi or an invitation no kama wako ama interrogations ahodo na akoso kama na edibe bio ya wie ya man bail a wo bafie na on his way coming na yebi wanse nkrofo bi atwa no se de nyina yehu ye na chese no kre harassment pa na yede no kokoshe EOCO for akati chama Wontumi assign as spending 2 days and as 2 nights ewo EOCO for custody eno na chese Honorable Kojo Oppong Nkrumah chese no kre we Agyapong sebi entiase ene nyansa sembia enisa nsemimu na owie na ode na no disem Chief Justice get to talk no ensem no emu na we say we bibia da di pefe say John Dramani Mahama ne NDC amanyoko no oma politicize Chief Justice ne ko a okon for ne right no omo a politicize no na how come say obi a ono adini siwti no e benefit no ne selfish interest na wasan e ba betena sa case no esubi why no refer to bafu boni acting Chief Justice bafu boni ene Kojo Oppong Nkrumah akasapa yenti ensema odi tu aponoso.
I think, as has been mentioned, especially by the immediate past former vice president, it is very important that people's constitutional rights are upheld. You may not like somebody, but you should be the first to speak in defense of his constitutional rights, because if those rights are trampled upon and we establish a culture of trampling upon those rights, tomorrow your rights could be trampled upon too. Here's a person who had been invited by the police CID, had attended, had been granted bail, and was participating in a police CID investigation. And when he was discharged for the day to return the following day, then you had this rumble style. I watched that video of one journalist who was reporting about how the arrest took place and how Mr. Wontumi was physically assaulted by the people who arrested him. Here's somebody who is not a flight risk in any way, somebody who is already cooperating with investigative bodies. And then you have this Rambo style pickup and then an attempt to keep him in the cooler and deny him bail for a number of days. Everybody understands what is going on. And you know, I'll end with this. Sometimes when parties win power with an overwhelming majority, there's so much goodwill that you feel you can get away with everything. Remember, the NPP had over like 1 million votes unprecedented in 2016.
800,000.
Yeah. And, you know, sometimes you think there's so much goodwill you can get away with anything. Posterity will judge it all. Right. This is there was no basis for going to pick him up and keep him in the cooler for somebody who was already cooperating with the police process and was reporting every day to the police station. How did he become a flight risk all of a sudden? It is clear that what the administration wants to do is to use the coercive efforts of the state to cow its political opponents into submission. In any case, like his lawyers are saying, the matter apparently is a civil matter, not a criminal matter.
Right.
And we do this, we will all be here in good time to see how it pans out.
You've sidestepped my question on Lateef Idris and his assault.
What was that question specifically?
Oh, on the Wontumi issue. And then there was a call for people to mass up. And then Lateef Idris, who was being, who was reporting on the matter, he was assaulted by some NPP stalwarts. Did you see the video?
No, I haven't. I've seen a police statement that says that they are going to investigate it. I'm hopeful that the police will investigate it and will be able to establish what exactly transpired and the persons responsible for it brought to book. Remember, when I was information minister, I will even be the one to draw the attention of the police that supporters of my party have done something untoward in the media house and that they should be arrested and dealt with. So I will not support any such thing. The police investigation will need to be properly done. And then if persons are found to have indeed done that, those persons brought to book. Quite recently, the minority leader was in a demonstration and was assaulted by the police. When the police called for an investigation, do you know the status of that investigation? They have now found out after reviewing video evidence the kind of assault that took place, but they are being quiet on it. And it is important that we follow that up as well and then bring it to the fore. So the police should do the investigation. Who they find culpable, regardless of whose ox is good, let him face the law.
Important point you make. That's how we cap it off. But what I will say is that if indeed there is some footage like that, I think it would be up to you, members of parliament, including the minority leader, to let us see that footage. Because all we saw was his purported assault on a certain police officer.
I am happy to mention this.
So maybe it would be in the good interest of parliament to put this other side out.
During the police investigation, the police PR department with its own cameras there has the footage which has been reviewed. We are waiting humbly that they will finish the investigation and bring it all out. It is in their custody. We are waiting for them to bring it. I mean, I think for her, she's got to fight for her rights in the ongoing process. But I think any honest person knows that what is going on is politics and not law. Anybody who says that this is Article 146, 147 is either complicit in it or is being naive. Everybody knows that what is going on is politics. This was premeditated. This was pre-announced. This was pre-advertised. There are clips of, now President Mahama announcing that they have a plan to appoint more NDC persons onto the benches. They announced quite clearly that they were of the view that the benches were not favorable to them. They bastardized, the Chief Justice and the Supreme Court extensively when they were in opposition. I was part of our legal team when we were going through the last election petition. You see all the spurious remarks that are made about her on social media, calling her all sorts of names and trying very hard to link her to the MPP. And so the intention was clear ab initio. If that had not been the case, then people could actually believe that there is some innocuous constitutional process going on.
But that same constitutional provision has been used. Yes, please.
If I just may, what is going on is a pre-advertised, pre-orchestrated, pre-planned exercise, now using the legal processes as a cover. And I don't think anybody is fooled by that. But what I'll say to that is that the consequences of our actions lie ahead of us.
Speaking of which, Mahama Yariga, the majority leader, has spoken about some actions that could take place to streamline further the removal of a Chief Justice. But if I am to take the point you make that this could be, and I'm not using your words here, frivolous, maybe something that is wishy-washy and is being perpetrated with the simple aim of getting the CJ out, my curiosity then lies with the courts, the apex court. Yesterday she was in front of her own colleagues, and the petition as submitted by Godfrey Adame was lost. It was unanimous. The losses at the apex court, would it in any way reflect the law, or is it that there too we are not seeing certain things?
So let me start from what my very good friend and the respected majority leader Mahama Yariga admitted to yesterday, that they intend to bring rules to Parliament to provide for what they are already doing. And I think it is an admission, it's a naked admission, that though the courts struck down the initial application that what is going on is unconstitutional because the rules or the subsidiary legislation around the exercise of this discretionary power are not in place, they are admitting that actually that is the case. And that is why they are now coming to prefer rules to try to do what they have already done. Because, for example, that prima facie determination has already been done. So what they are doing is an admission that that application held a lot of substance in it. I have said that the consequences of actions that we are all taking, they lie ahead of us. And posterity will judge all of us for the actions and the inactions and the decisions that are being made today and are being justified in what. Sometimes when I watch some of our colleagues on TV, going on and on and on, convicting her in the court of public opinion, when even her application to supplement her affidavit is being thrown out on the grounds that it discloses information that should not come out. and you have senior government officials sitting on television, purportedly giving details which should not come out. You can see the double standards in it. And you can see the premeditated exercise at play. And that's why I've said anybody who is pretending that this is just an operation of Article 146 or 147, in my respected and humble opinion, is either complicit or is being naive in this, because everybody knows what
is your side also being political? Then some have suggested that your support and Godfrey Adama representing her. In fact, I don't know whether it's Justice Tanko yesterday making mention of the fact, reminding the former AG that he had heard him on radio, you know, talking about some of the vexed matters that are in court, and the former AG now saying that, he was on our network and someone misled him and he said certain things. I don't know what your thinking is on that, but maybe we should then just segue into the Wontumi case, which is where we're going to wrap it up. He was picked up and the processes in between, I believe it's the Afrexim Bank and money involved. Then there's also illegal mining and all that. And I want you to tie to it the issue of Lateef Idris, a colleague of ours who was manhandled by some members of the NPP. How do you see that composite of matters? What's your reaction to it?
Let me land on the Chief Justice's matter. And you were asking about what therefore do we make of members of the NPP who have, you know, expressed concerns. And
in other words, if it's political on the side of the NDC, is it political on the side of the NPP as well?
Yes, and that's what I want to react to. You see, this sort of double standards that sometimes we want to run in this country. I think,
Kojo, please clarify who wants to run.
All of us.
Okay. All right.
Run in this country. I think it's something we should take a second look at. In one breath, when Mr. Godfrey Dami represents the Chief Justice, then the matter takes a political color. In another breath, when the known lawyers and advocates of the NDC and even the Speaker now represent the petitioners, that one doesn't take a political color. I mean, what sort of double standards is this? It beggars belief.
It has been said. It has been said that some of the, and I, if you care to mention names, I mean, we could go on that trajectory. It has been said that in the selection of the CJ as suspended, Godfrey Adami was instrumental. Is that true or not?
Let me land my argument. You started off by alluding or invoking the question of a certain political alignment. And my response, which I'm making, and then I'll go to the Wontumi matter and come to this one that you have raised. My response is that this double standards, this hypocritical standards that all of us, the circles that we are running, are indulging in, beggars belief that in one breath, people want to make an argument that the matter takes a political color when Godfrey Adami serves as counsel for the CJ. And the same people who make that argument conveniently forget who the lawyers on the other side are. The same people who want everybody to believe that the matter takes a political color when Godfrey Adami represents the AG now develop amnesia when it comes to the lawyers on the other side. And that is why I and a lot of my colleagues have made the point that this matter is politics and not law. Because it was a predetermined, pre-orchestrated, pre-announced exercise. And what is now going on is the use of Article 146 and 147 to give color. So when you say, it's a constitutional process. It's a constitutional process. And I'm saying to you that if this was an innocuous constitutional process playing out, and there had been no advertisement, prior advertisement of the mens rea, many people may just, follow it. But because of the pre-advertised intention, it is clear to everybody what is going on.
So the fact that you go to court and the court does not rule in your favor does not mean that the court is not giving justice. So we need to appreciate that failure in court by a party does not mean that the party did not achieve justice. So if people are saying that the fact that she lost 3 injunction applications in court and so she cannot get justice, and for that matter she should resign. I strongly disagree on same. Because the courts are always there so that any party who feel aggrieved by any act, the person can go there and seek remedy. And so under the circumstance, I think that she has been getting justice as she deserves. The fact that a decision does not go in her favor does not mean she could not have justice. So the school of thought that are of the opinion that the Chief Justice should resign because she cannot get justice under the circumstance, I strongly disagree with them.
I see. And we also told that the Chief Justice is being tortured and all that, seasoning her phones and one or two things. Number one, number two were not allowed. They didn't allow her to. Use it to appear before the committee and all that.
You know, Nana, the truth is that every commission that is set up will have its modalities. Every commission that is set up will have its modalities at which they will work. If she has been communicated to by the committee members, the modality at which they are working, the only thing as a respondent who is appearing before such a committee is to go by those modalities. And when I read a supplementary affidavit, what I got is that the fact that they have asked her not to go into the meeting with her phone, it means that that is unconstitutional. I sincerely want to disagree with that because no right of her has been taken away. The fact that you are not to enter a particular place, even we lawyers, when you are going to court, you don't have to even keep your phone on loudspeaker. You have to keep it on silence. And there are instances where we are denied of carrying certain gadgets to certain places because of its security nature. So if that is the reason for which they have not allowed her, if she has something or her lawyers have something, they could print it and carry it. And that should not, if there is a way of doing one thing, the fact that they ask you not to do it in a particular way, which would have been to the best of your advantage, does not mean you have been denied justice or your right has been violated upon. Because of course, we cannot say that the fact that they have access or they have not allowed the husband, for instance, to enter into the room, then she is actually being denied her right to representation. I don't think the husband was going to represent her. She went there with all her lawyers. And another thing that I saw was the fact that they have actually taken her to a high security zone, which means that her rights have been violated. I don't again understand how taking somebody to a very high security zone could be a violation of her rights. Is it intimidation? And what kind of intimidation is it? Are people on her with guns?
And according to her, there was a denial of access into the hearing room for her husband and the children, which the husband and the children should have been accompanied her to the hearing room, and they were denied entry.
So that is a violation of her constitutional right.
And the body was also searched as well.
It would be a transfer of justice if the Supreme Court will have ruled that this amounts to infringement of her personal right. It would have been an injustice, and for which reason anybody, including myself, I would have also gone to court to challenge if the decision of the Supreme Court was or was otherwise. That cannot amount to infringement of personal rights. Was the husband her lawyer or the children were the lawyer? You the accused person or the respondent, and then that of your lawyers are to represent you.